Today is literally the most gorgeous, beautiful spring day, so I thought, let's put on a fresh face of makeup, let's curl our hair, let's put on a really cute, dainty floral dress, and let's film this video. So this video is all about my Q1 check-in of all the books that I've read so far of 2023. I broke it down into statistics, and we're going to be talking about my least and favorite books, and I'm excited because I made a pie graph. And I know that's super lame, but I'm really excited about it. So let's get into this video. All right, let's start off with our statistics. So Q1 is January, February, and March. And so far in 2023, I have read 19 books. Out of those 19 books, 4 have been audiobooks, 10 have been ebooks, and this is not surprising to me because I was in the middle of a move, and with all my physical books packed away and then unpacking them and just the hiccups of moving, it was so much easier to gravitate towards my Kindle. And then physical books, I read 5. Now, out of all those 19 books, and I wish it was 20, I wish so bad it was an even number, but it's whatever, it's fine. I read 13 romance books, which I'm a romance girly through and through, okay? 2 were thrillers. I kind of want to get more back into the thriller genre, so if you have any good recs, leave them down below. 3 were fantasy books and 1 was historical fiction. And I also want to mention how many pages I read each month. So in January, I read 2,879 pages. February, I read 2,206 pages. And March, I read 3,123 pages. So total so far of 2023, I have read 8,208 pages. So I actually have my bullet journal here. If you guys don't have a bullet journal, I highly suggest them. It's just so nice at the end of the day to kind of color in everything that you have accomplished. So I actually do track my book stats. So I started in February, so I don't have a January page, but this is what it looks like. So this is for March, so I kind of put every day I track how many pages I've read, and then I do book stats on this side where I say oh, how many books I want to read. So for March, I thought I was going to read 3. Then I draw the books that I read, and then I do my top 3, and then I do the pages and how many books I did read. So for March, I read 6 books, and then for February, I also read 6 books, and that's what this page looks like for February. It's super fun, I highly suggest it. So now I headed over to my Goodreads page. I'm going to tell you all 19 books that I read, what I rated them on Goodreads, and then I'm gonna break down my favorites and my least faves. So let's start. The first book that I read of the year was Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. I gave it 4 stars. And then after that, I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, which this was actually an audiobook, so I gave that one 4 stars. Next book was an ebook. It was A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy, and I gave that one 3 stars. Then another audiobook is Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. I gave that 4 stars. This was an ebook. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score was a 5-star read. I love that book so much. This was an audio/physical book because the audiobook was narrated by Ben Barnes, and I had the graphic novel with me, and I thought it would be fun to read them side by side. So this one is Demon in the Woods by Leigh Bardugo. Gave this one a 3.5 star. After that, I read another ebook, One Last Stop by Casey McQuisson. I don't know if I'm saying it right. That one was a 5-star for me. Next is The Chemistry of Love by Sahara Wilson. I gave that 4 stars. And then Look Off with Love by Marina Zappa. I feel like I'm saying that wrong too. That one was an ebook, and I gave it 5 stars. After that, I read The Valentine Inn by Jennifer Peel. It was an ebook, and I gave it 2 stars. After that, I read Twisted Love by Anna Huang. Totally saying that wrong again. And this one, I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, but I'm revoking that and giving it a 2 star. We'll get into that in a second. After that, I did an audiobook of Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, gave it a 5 star. Then Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which was a physical book, and I gave that one 3 stars. Next book I read was an ebook, Twisted Games. That was a 4 star, and honestly the only one worth it in the Twisted series. Next, I actually read a physical book of this because I went to a book signing for Lucy Score. So this is Things We Hide from the Light, gave it a 4 star. Next was an ebook of Twisted Hate, gave it 3 stars. Then Twisted Lies, another ebook, I gave it 2 stars. And a physical copy of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, 5 stars. and a physical copy of Crooked Kingdom by Leah Bardugo, 5 stars. Alright, so now I'm gonna break down my least favorite books and like the most disappointing books to me, and then my favorite books from 2023. I'm not counting the Six of Crows duology, and I'm not counting Daisy Jones and the Six because those were rereads to me, and I already know they're like the best books ever, so I'm not gonna count them as my top books of the year. However, I am going to be talking about the books that I initially have read for the first time as my favorite and my least favorite books. So let's start with the least favorite books. I have to say it, the Twisted series was not it for me. Everyone was hyping that like series up so much, and personally I did like Twisted Games, but the others just like weren't it for me. My least favorite of the like series was Twisted Love, which I revoked my 3-star and gave it a 2-star for multiple reasons. One of the reasons being, why did that man sing? Okay? That was so unnecessary. And then secondly, like, people talk about Alex Volkov like all over Bookstagram about like how great he is, and I'm just like, I can't stand this man. I feel like he had no personality whatsoever, and it was like very hard to like him because of that. And what he did to Ava, I don't think I myself could ever forgive a man for doing that. And then he like had the audacity to go to London and like follow her and like basically stalk her. So no, not it for me, honey. Twisted Lies. Now, there wasn't anything like in particularly bad about this book. It just felt like it was going on forever. I was like, when will this book end? Like, this book was 530 pages. They dragged the plot on for so long. And like, there was a good plot. There was like a stalker involved in it, but it was almost like he was non-existent for majority of the book, and then it was just like over with like a snap of the fingers, and I was like, come on, we can do better. Next one like I gave like lowest so far was The Valentine End by Jennifer Peel. This one was just like something I thought would be fun to read for Valentine's Day, but honestly it was an insta-love, and I'm not an insta-love girl, and I didn't feel a connection between the two characters whatsoever, and just the plot was actually pretty interesting, but the execution of it was not good in my opinion. And then my honorable mention is A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. I feel like, again, with Twisted Love, this book is really, really hyped up online. In my opinion, it is a good book. Like, I couldn't stop myself from reading it. I was interested, but there was a lot of, like, misogyny in it. I feel like I say that word so wrong, but a lot of sexism, and I did not like it. And then also, the whole plot of the book is this girl is a virgin, and it's so repetitive about how like, oh, she's so pure, she's a virgin, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I never want to read a trope of that ever again in my life. Thank you very much. And then the blow pop thing. If you know, you know. Alright, let's talk about my favorite books of 2023. We're gonna start off with Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. And I immediately bought this on Amazon like the second I finished the ebook because I loved it so much. It's a small town romance, but it's honestly so much more than that. It's about a girl who comes to a small town to help her sister out, and then her crazy twin sister's like hated by everyone, and then they think it's her, and then it's not her, and then she has to take care of her kid that she left behind. And normally I don't like kids in books, but I feel like Waylay added so much to the story, and I actually really loved her. And when she interacted with Knox, which is the main male character in this book, I was just like, I loved this book. I love Naomi and Knox. Knox is so grumpy, but like in the best way possible. I was like, Alex Volkov, get far away from me. Knox Morgan, get so close to me. And it's just perfect. I love like the way they balance each other out, and just like, basically she finds her own family in this book, and we all know found family is like one of my favorite tropes ever. So I really love this about the book. I did, however, was kind of mad about the third act breakup, but I'll get over it, okay? I want to share with you some of my quotes that I have in here. One of them, again, I talked about how Knox is like super grumpy. So the first one I have is basically Naomi saying, but he's so grumpy. And then I I put AKA he's perfect. So true. And then the next one I have is towards the end of the book, and honestly, like, it made my heart hurt a little bit. And Knox said to Naomi, "You make broken things whole again. Me, you made me whole." Basically, if you guys have not read this book, please, I'm begging you, read this book. I loved it so much, okay? Read it. Read it, please. I have a confession. This actually might be my top book of 2023 thus far. It's One Last Stop by Casey McQuestion. I'm definitely saying her last name wrong, but she's the person who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue, and honestly, that's one of my favorite books ever too. Now, this book, again, it's more than just a romance. And that's when I love a romance book, it's because it's more than just that. You know, it's not just like the smut and just like, oh, we love each other kind of thing. You know, I love a good rom-com book, but when there's more in it, that's when I give you a 5-star, you know? So this book is about August, who moves to New York City, and she takes the subway all the time, and she sees this really attractive girl on the train who has this kind of badass way about her, but everyone loves her, and people are constantly talking about her, posting about it online and stuff like that. And she's like, who is this mysterious woman? So that's Jane, and I love Jane. I mean, of course. And it's kind of interesting because she's like, I've never ever seen Jane leave the subway. Whenever I ask her to leave the subway, she can't. She just makes up some excuse. And she's always on the same line as me at any given time. Then, funny thing is, August starts working at this restaurant, and there's a picture of Jane in the restaurant from when the restaurant first opened in the 70s. Okay? So this book has a little bit of something extra to it, and it's very, very interesting. The whole time I was like, who is Jane? What is her deal? What is this? So I love this book so much, and if you're someone who likes more I don't want to say it's fantasy, but it's kind of a little bit of fantasy up in here. But also August moves in with a group of people she doesn't know, and it's another found family trope, and I love it. So when I started reading this book, I did not expect to cry, but I cried multiple times reading this book in the best way possible. And I don't know, I love this book so much. There's so many things I could say about it. I need to actually annotate this because I recently just purchased it after reading the ebook, so I need to annotate this one. But I don't know, it's just so good. If you haven't read any of her books, please read them, especially this one. This is, again, my favorite so far of 2023, okay? My favorite. You heard it here, folks. All right, so the last book I'm gonna talk about for my top books is From Luke Off with Love. I don't have a physical copy. I really do want to get one. This book is a ice skating romance, and I love a little sports romance, all right? And this book is a slow burn, and I am usually not a huge fan of a slow burn romance, but honestly, this did not feel like it at all. I loved every moment of this book. I ate it up. And it was 493 pages, but it does not feel long. It doesn't feel like it's being dragged out. And when I finished the book, I honestly was like, I want more. I want to read more about Jasmine, and I want to read more about Ivan. I honestly, this book could have been 8,000 pages, and I would read every single word. Okay? I don't know, there's just something about this book that I just really, really loved. And maybe it was the fact that they were kind of enemies to lovers at first, and basically he's been in love with her this whole time. Yeah, on my Goodreads I said, 1, where is my man that I think can't stand me but actually loves me? 2, I wanted more. That just describes it, you know? I love enemies to lovers. I just love when a man, you think a man hates you and they're actually I've been in love with you my entire life. I'm just waiting for that to happen to me, except I didn't talk to boys when I was younger, so that's never gonna happen to me. Honestly, there is a lot of things I could say about this book, because after a while you kind of get to see Ivan a lot more, and you're just all these layers to Ivan. I love, because at first you think he's really surface level jerk, and then you find out more and more about him, and you're I love this man. Jasmine, if you don't love this man, I will love this man. And he's really protective of her and takes good care of her, and I wanted so much more. Like, the epilogue came and I was like, this is it? Give me more of them. Give me another book. I will gladly take another book. Again, it did not feel like it dragged on for so long. When I actually read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, and that was a slow burn, another slow burn by Maria Zapta, and I was like, oh my god, will this book ever end? This book did not feel like that. This book was amazing. And again, sports romance, enemies to lovers, slow burn. If you love any of that, this book you're gonna love. So those were all the books that I read so far in 2023. If you loved them, if you hated them, or if you sort of liked them, let me know in the comments below. And I'm gonna make this a series here on my channel, so when Q2 comes around, I will be doing another check-in. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you all in my next one.